Hi guys out there in YouTube land, Chibi here with Ash. Haven't seen him in a while, I don't think, so decided he'd come in this video for me. I got a very interesting and kind of difficult question on my DeviantArt, so I decided to make a quick video. I might go into more detail about this later on. I kind of might, write it all out and think it all through a little bit better. So this might sound a little rambly, but I'm sorry about that. I just wanted to answer her question for her, so it's easier for me to do it in video than try to type it out. Her question was, she noticed that I'm selling a handful of my dolls, and as I said in a previous video, the reason for that is I'm trying to make the perfect doll family, and these particular dolls didn't fit into my family the way I originally intended them to. And she wants to know if I have any tips in not having this happen to her, not having, not be in love with her first choices of dolls. And I do have some tips, and some of them are kind of basic, but can mean a lot in the long run. And other ones are kind of just what I do. Um, I'll start off by saying my biggest mistake with the 3 dolls I'm currently selling, um, one's on layaway, the doll's in felony. Balana's body's been sold, but I still have her head, and then my wing 2 is, my felony was kind of an impulse buy. I had a character, I wanted to fill it, I found her, and she didn't quite work, but the price was right. And that was my mistake. I'll explain that later. With my Balana, it was one of those things where she didn't quite look like what I expected from the company photos, and that was also my problem with my wing 2. So kind of tip number 1 is definitely go out and find user photos, owners' photos of these dolls. Do not always trust the company. They're trying to make their dolls look as pretty as possible and to sell them, not to, show you that maybe their wrist looks a little funky, and so they kind of, artistically hide it in photos, or, they have these professional photographers who, you know, can make anything look beautiful. I mean, sometimes you just gotta get down to the nitty gritty and, go on DeviantArt, Flickr, even Google Images, and just search the name of the doll and just find as many owners' pictures as you can. And especially when it comes to getting a doll in a different skin tone than it's pictured on the website. That was my problem with my wing 2. He looks a lot different in the normal pink skin tone than he does in the white to me. It makes him just not look quite as, I guess, girly as I originally intended him to be. And it was early on in the hobby, and I really had never thought about looking up owners' pictures, which, I mean, it seems so basic now to me. I do it all the time when I want a doll. And it's been the make or break for me in a lot of my dolls. And even sometimes seeing a doll that I'm not quite too fond of and going out and seeing owners' pictures can do a great deal for me, going, you know what, the sculpt really has, the potential to be what I want it to be. So that's the main tip. Like, you gotta just owners' pictures and know that, doll sculpts will look totally different in some skin tones, especially if you're going from like getting a doll that's pictured in white skin and then you're ordering it tan skin. It's gonna look a lot different than the white skin. And another big major thing is be very, very wary of impulse buys. I know in this hobby, especially when you find secondhand dolls, you might want to jump on them really quickly, which in ways can be good because if they're popular, they can sell out and things like that. But also make sure that you're not jumping on them just because it's at a good price and you can get them, but also because you actually want the doll and like the doll and all the aspects about the doll. Another thing is be a little bit wary of getting caught up in some of these limited edition or, only selling from this time to this time dolls. I've seen quite a few people in this hobby get caught up in that, especially with companies like Zoom who do it pretty much constantly. And they see it all, they get it, and then by the time it gets to them, you only looked at it for a day or two before you ordered it because they didn't put out pictures that showed it very well until and you jumped on it because you really thought it was cute, but then you didn't really give your brain enough time to really process its price and everything about the doll, if you're gonna like the jointing systems and things like that. You got to be really wary. I mean, of course, sometimes that is required of you. I had to do that with my Frankenstein doll. I had to really jump on him and, make it work in my budget to get him. And I do not in any way, shape, or form regret getting him. He is one of my favorites. I love him to death. But it can end badly. I mean, I do know people who jumped on the Frankenstein doll because they really, 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 really wanted him, and then they got him home and they were like, oh God, the body blushing, the this or the that, and ooh, and they ended up, so, and I know saw two hit the marketplace pretty much the second they got, dolls, which is kind of sad, but I mean, sometimes there's just positions you get put in, it's gonna happen. More than likely, there's eventually gonna be a point where you buy a doll, you get it home, and it's just not what you were thinking it's gonna be. Um, so you gotta be really, really, really careful with impulse buys. I'm a victim of it. It's gone good for me, it's gone bad for me, and it's gone okay for me. So, um, yeah. Another a good tip is definitely inundate yourself with different dolls. Um, see and look at as many dolls as you possibly can on the internet. I think personally, even though I'd known about Ball Journey dolls for many years before, and I'd done quite a bit of research, I didn't quite do as much as I think would have been best. I didn't quite realize how many doll companies out there. I kind of just looked at the companies you could buy through American retailers and things like that, and I think if I had inundated myself more with different doll companies and different sites, I might have done things a little bit differently in the beginning. And my biggest and best thing, which some people can do and some people just don't have the ability to do it, is if you have a way of seeing these dolls in person before you buy them, do it. Um, of course, Mint on Card, Denver Doll Emporium, the Doll Market. If you happen to live near any of those three, and I don't think Junkie Spot lets you do has any type of storefront in any way, shape, or form anymore, but um, definitely, I think Mint on Card you have to make an appointment, but definitely go and see them in person. Or if you have a doll, if you just have a doll meet within driving range, even if it's a little bit of a far drive, if you have the ability to go, I would definitely find it worth it. It can be intimidating to have all these dolls and see all these dolls, but really, especially if you're a first time buyer and you tell people, hey, I'm thinking of getting a doll, I just don't know what size and stuff like that. I mean, when I'm at doll meets, I have no problem. I've had newbies there ask me, hey, can I hold your doll? And I'm like, yes, just, know the basic rules. Don't touch the face. Don't grab a doll without, asking the owner first and everything like that. And everything's going to be cool. I mean, generally people are really nice at doll meets. And also, if you can't find, if you're not near a store, if you're not near any type of doll meet, conventions can be pretty handy. There are doll conventions, but there are none in my area at all. Um, you can also go for anime conventions. I know not all doll people are into anime, but it might be worth the ticket to get in and see the panel if you get to see a bunch of different dolls. And people who run these panels, they run them because they really love these dolls, and they love to inform other people, and these panels can be really informative about how to take care of dolls and stuff for first time owners. And generally, even at my convention, which is not incredibly tiny anymore, but even when it was smaller, there was a good 20, 30 dolls at the panel, and that was probably 20 or 30 people there, and only 1/3 of them actually own dolls. So I mean, you get a good range, I think, at anime panels if you can get to a convention. I don't know of any sci-fi conventions who have them, but I would say you could probably ask around and see if they happen to have a BJD panel at one. But I know most anime conventions are starting to get or have already have BJD panels. So see them in person if you can. And I guess the last part of advice I'm going to talk about is uh, size. It's a little bit of a complicated situation if you can't see them in person. It's hard to comprehend the size of dolls. I mean, I own everything from a Pookie Pookie to 70 centimeter boy, and every time I get a new size, I'm still surprised by the size of the doll. The first time I saw a Pookie Pookie in person, which was at a doll meet, I was like, holy crap, it's so tiny. And, I still can't even comprehend, like, real Pookies are the tinier dolls. I'm just like, I don't understand how something so tiny can work. But, kind of a rule of thumb for me with dolls is what you want to do with them is a huge factor on what you should do, what size you should get in you as a person in relation to this. If you're a person who wants to carry around your doll all the time and play with it a lot and do a lot with it, but you're a weaker person, not as a bad thing, just like some people are just naturally don't have a lot of muscle to them. Having a heavy 70 centimeter boy is probably not going to be your best bet. And it's probably, you're going to be upset that you can't do all those things with him if that's what you want, because he's just too heavy. Like, I get winded posing this dude. He's just, like, so ridiculously heavy. And you wouldn't think so at first, because I'm like, oh, he's really light. But, when you've been intricately trying to pose them, or, even just carrying him like this around, even when I put my SDs on my shoulder to walk around the house and stuff with, they do, push down on you a lot and get heavy, even if you are strong. So if your intent is to really, do some fun playing with them or taking them a lot of places, you might want to comprehend different doll companies have different weights. He is much heavier than a resin soul of the same size, because he's got a much more solid body. But if you really want a 70 centimeter doll, but don't really want to handle the size, your best bet is definitely to go for a company that has, a much lighter weight to the resin. And you can ask around the doll forums and Facebook groups and things like that about like the weight of different companies. For me, I'm naturally strong. I do have them sit around with me, but I don't actively play with them a lot. I kind of build characters, dress them the way I want to dress them, and kind of they help me build the story in my head by seeing them in person. So I really like the SD size. I do take them to doll meets, which is really heavy. I mean, I've made the mistake of packing 3 SDs in a 1 SD bag, and good lord. But to me, it's worth it, and I'm strong enough to where doing that once a month isn't killing me, or once a year going to a convention, which is all I do, carrying 1 SD isn't going to kill me. But also in figuring out what size you want to know what style you really want your doll to look like. I've made this mistake before. I saw a doll, I'm like, that's perfect for the character. Got the doll, didn't realize that I wasn't going to be able to find clothes in the style of that character for that doll. And I mean, it should have been common sense that, of course, they wouldn't have a whole bunch of girly 70 centimeter size boy clothes. And by girly, I mean like full on dresses and stuff. I'd have to have them kind of made myself, and the few that do exist that can fit him, it's few and far in between, and are they really his style type deal going on. And that was my wing too, and my problem with him. If you have a very specific style for a doll that you want in a doll, you kind of you want to go look around at doll sites and find the clothes, see how much the price is in that size range, because if you're looking at really intricate like steampunk, it's going to be pricier for different sizes. And or if you want a girly boy, you're gonna have to find the clothes you want, see the measurements they fit, and find the boy they fit, unless you want to commission your own clothes or sew them yourself. So size does matter. I'm trying to think. Let's see. And I think one of the best ways, if you can't see them in person, to figure out size is really get a measuring tape out. And I know it sounds really dumb, but just get a measuring tape out and kind of, measure out on either a large piece of paper or poster board, this is the size of the doll. Like, this is shoulder to shoulder, which is like they're as big as they get. And, this is the length of the doll. Because it's surprising every time I get a new doll of a different size. Like, currently I've had every size except for anything above 70. And I'm quite sure I will go above a 70, and I will be yet again surprised about the size. Because without seeing them in person, it's really hard. But if you go by my rule of looking up owners' pictures, sometimes you can kind of see them in relation to real world things that will help you out as well. But I have been rambling for way longer than this video needs to be, and hopefully some of it has been informative for those new buyers. I might do this in a more organized fashion later. I just don't have the time to really think it out and write it out right now with exams, and I just finished writing a paper before I saw this comment and decided to make this video, so it's kind of a immediate thing. So if I seem a little my bad. I did take 2 takes of this though, so anyway. If you have any specific questions, more specific about this particular topic, you could comment it below, or message it to me if you don't feel comfortable commenting, and I will answer it the best way I can, because I tried to think of my best things, but sometimes, specific questions, you get better answers. Anyways, I hope that was helpful. Bye.